Hello, this is George Hutton, and you're listening to the Mind Persuasion Podcast. Today we continue our study of Tung Fu, the art of interconversational reframe. Today is Chapter 20, and we'll be dealing with the objection, I'm too busy equals we can't see each other. Use these patterns whenever you encounter any objection that sounds like, I'm too busy, so we can't see each other, or we can't see each other because I'm too busy. Pattern 1, metaframe. When you consider the millions of events that happen every single second, it's a wonder any of us have any time to even have a conversation. Pattern 2, change frame size. Everybody's busy and yet they make enough time for the important things. Pattern 3, apply to self A to A. You're not too busy to maintain that silly belief in your head. That must take up a lot of mental resources that you could otherwise use to maximize thinking efficiency. Pattern 4, apply to self B to B. What I can't see is how you can hold that belief in mind when it is completely up to you to disprove it, since it's your belief and you can change it however you like. Pattern 5, reality strategy. How do you know? Since nobody ever plans their day down to the latest minute, which implies that we all make tons of room for unexpected situations and events, how can you possibly even know that? Pattern 6, model of the world. That's an interesting model of the world. Most of the greatest inventions were unplanned. It's a good thing their inventors didn't think they were so busy they couldn't allow for unexpected miracles to slip into existence. Pattern 7, intent. I know you are deeply concerned with maintaining your effectiveness and productivity as a human, which is why you need me to help share some of the burden. Pattern 8, redefine A not equal to B. You're not too busy to see me, you're too busy to notice how inefficient that mindset really is. Pattern 9, redefine B not equal to A. Not seeing me isn't a result of you being too busy, it's a result of you being so worried to notice what is right in front of you. Once you relax your mind a little bit, you will realize how many more opportunities you aren't yet taking advantage of. Pattern 10, counterexample. Have you ever taken advantage of an opportunity that just popped up and later realized it was one of the most significant things that ever happened to you? Pattern 11, chunk up. What exactly do you mean when you say busy? Busy according to whom? How much of your time are you dedicating to others, and how much are you actually dedicating to yourself? Pattern 12, chunk down. Perhaps you can shift some of your downtime. I promise I can provide you with much more entertainment than even the best shows on TV. Pattern 13, metaphor. I'm glad that God didn't decide he was too busy to create the earth. I mean, that took a lot of time, even metaphorically speaking. I'm certainly glad your parents weren't too busy to make time to make you, without which the world would be a terribly lonely place. Pattern 14, another outcome. I understand that you're busy, and forget about me for a minute, but are you too busy to experience the unexpected joys that life has to offer that is only available to those who are willing to see them? Pattern 15, consequences. If you only do what you can plan, you will never experience the unexpected joy of happiness. Pattern 16, hierarchy of criteria. The more important thing is that you create a wonderful life for yourself. I get that. And sometimes you need to take a step backward to be able to take the next 2 steps forward. Let me be that step backward, and let me be the one who can help you take 2 million steps forward. Pattern 17, take it to the threshold. So unless something is fully planned, you will refuse to even consider it? Suppose a reporter asks to interview you, and if you accept the interview, your career will take off. Will you reject that opportunity because you hadn't planned for it? Pattern 18, reverse presuppositions. How can the less busy and more chaotic you allow your life to be make it much more natural for you to make even more progress? Chapter 21, commitment equals good. Use these patterns when somebody wants a committed relationship but you don't. Pattern 1, metaframe. The idea of commitment is a very complicated thing with many different variables. Pattern 2, change frame size. What specifically do you think we have that isn't considered a commitment that you would like to change? Pattern 3, apply to self A to A. I think you might be overly committed to that idea so much that you can't see the value of what we already have. Pattern 4, apply to self B to B. I don't think it's such a good idea to see things in such simple terms. I think it's even better to focus on the good things we already have. Pattern 5, reality strategy. How do you know? Something as complicated as that can only be measured in retrospect. And by then it might be too late, and we might realize that we ruined the best part of what we have by rushing forward too fast. Pattern 6, model of the world. That's an interesting model of the world. An alternative model is to take as much time as we can getting to really know each other. So if we do decide it's the right thing, we won't have any doubts. Pattern 7, intent. I think you are saying that because you are worried about losing what we have, and so am I, which is why I think instead of trying to put any boundaries on this, we should instead focus on how we can fulfill each other's needs without any restrictions. Pattern 8, redefine A not equal to B. A commitment isn't necessarily good. It can be a cage that destroys the beauty of what it contains. Pattern 9, redefine B not equal to A. What's good is being totally focused on each other's needs and trying to create an internal drive to only see each other, not in placing artificial boundaries around what we have. Pattern 10, counterexample. Have you ever been in a committed relationship and you just couldn't wait to get out of it? What if that feeling is part of every committed relationship? I never want to feel anything other than positive feelings when I think of you. Pattern 11, chunk up. What exactly does a commitment mean anyway? I know I want to see you more than anybody else. I know I want to be with you more than anybody else. I think trying to put artificial labels on such a wonderful feeling is a dangerous idea. Pattern 12, chunk down. What kind of commitments would convince you more than you already know that I am dedicated to your happiness and our happiness together? Pattern 13, metaphor. The caged bird forgets how to sing. Pattern 14, another outcome. Whether or not we enter into a specific commitment isn't really the important thing. The most important thing is that we spend as much of our energy focusing on how we can best satisfy each other's needs and support each other however we can. Pattern 15, consequences. If anybody demands too much commitment too soon, that will only scare people away. Pattern 16, hierarchy of criteria. The more important thing is that we enjoy being with each other, and we both like the idea of increasing the bond between us, however naturally that happens. I don't want to rush such a wonderful and organic process. Pattern 17, take it to the threshold. So you mean move in together and try to work at the same job together? Maybe burn all our clothes and start wearing matching clothes? Maybe we could even adopt each other as well, or maybe even we could commit a crime and petition the state to put us both in solitary confinement for the rest of our lives. Pattern 18, reverse presuppositions. How can the longer we put off the commitment discussion, the stronger our relationship will grow? I'm George Hutton. Thank you for listening to the Mind Persuasion Podcast. I look forward to speaking with you again soon.